Hey everybody, how you doing? I'm Dr. Boyce Watkins from Your Black World. Um, I wanted to talk a little bit about something that I think is incredibly important in this presidential race. And fortunately, a lot of people understand where I'm coming from. People are starting to agree and really get what we're saying on this. And that is the um, the private prison industry and their insidious presence in American politics. Many of us understand from Michelle Alexander's book, The New Jim Crow, that the private prison industry is one of the most destructive forces in American history. It links directly from slavery. There really isn't much of a difference. And it has caused just, unbelievable amounts of trauma in millions of families across the country, most of these families African American. Fortunately, black people are waking up. Black folks are sensitive to this issue. We now understand this issue. We understand what it's doing to our families. We don't fall for the okey doke anymore that tells us that if somebody's convicted of a felony, that somehow that makes them a bad person and all this other stuff. We know that that's nonsense. And we're also finding that sometimes some of the people that we thought were our friends are really our enemies. Now, I'm going to pull out an article on Politico.com. The column's called Under the Radar by Josh Gerstein. And Josh talks about Hillary Clinton and her link to private prisons. It turns out that Hillary is deeply connected to private prisons, which is very interesting considering that her husband was responsible for the incarceration of more black men than any president in recent American history. Um, it's interesting that for these people, it's kind of just a soundbite. It's just kind of something maybe they feel the need to apologize for potentially, or they'll say something like, "Oh, well, elect me again so I can fix this issue." These people don't care about fixing this issue. These people don't care about the black community. I haven't seen much evidence to say that they really do. Well, I'll tell you what Gerstein says about Hillary and her link to private prisons, and I want you to go read the article. It's by Josh Gerstein. It's on Politico.com, and the title of the article is "Clinton Campaign Gives Private Prison Lobbyists Cash to Charity." Now, it starts off looking like Hillary wants to distance herself from the private prison industry. The article starts with Gerstein saying Hillary Clinton's presidential campaign made an $8,600 donation to a women's prison charity late last year and got the money from an ironic source: political contributions from private prison lobbyists. However, Clinton's campaign is still taking in much larger sums gathered by at least one prominent lobbyist linked to the prison industry. Clinton's campaign finance report filed late Sunday discloses a payment of $8,600 on December 30th to the Women's Prison Association, a New York-based group that provides assistance to women who are incarcerated and helps them reintegrate into society when they get out. A Clinton campaign spokesman said the contribution fulfilled a pledge Clinton made after discussions with the racial justice group Color of Change. Now, what's interesting, though, is this part. Despite the refunds, the Clinton campaign continues to benefit handsomely from the fundraising assistance of some who are closely connected to the private prison business. In another report filed Sunday night, the campaign disclosed that Richard Sullivan of Capitol Counsel, until recently a Raleigh, North Carolina-based federally registered lobbyist for the for-profit prison operator GEO Group, that this lobbyist bundled $69,363 in donations for Clinton in the fourth quarter, bringing his total for the year up to $274,891. Now that's Clinton's second most prolific lobbyist bundler, and I guess these are people that run around and gather money for these bought and paid politicians. Sullivan's firm Capital Counsel has been registered for years to represent GEO Group subsidiary BI Inc., which focuses on electronic monitoring of inmates. So his firm has been registered for many years to represent a company that makes electronic monitoring devices for prison inmates, which means that they profit from mass incarceration. Now, the firm continues to represent BI. Sullivan says that he has no plans to continue to do so. Um, so, does this mean that Hillary's connected to the private prison industry? Well, it's hard to say. I mean, it almost sounds like this article is saying that someone who supports her spent many years deeply connected to the private prison industry. And if you look at it from an optimistic standpoint, it almost says that, you know, um, that they're distancing themselves from this prison thing. They're starting to see the light at the end of the very dark tunnel. But at the same time, it could say that their actions have just become more insidious, that they're just sort of hiding these relationships. In a way, I guess you could almost say it's almost like me saying, well, I was married to this woman for 4 years, but now I have nothing to do with her. And how much you believe me depends on whether or not you think I'm a person who tells the truth or a person who lies based on convenience. What I will say is that Hillary Clinton doesn't do much in terms of exciting me as a presidential candidate, but then again, nobody does. Donald Trump doesn't. Donald Trump's entertainment, but he's not really a candidate that I can really take all that seriously. I don't even know if he takes himself seriously. Bernie Sanders, I guess that's the best that people have that's available to them. But number one, I don't think Sanders is going to get the Democratic nomination because there's so many rules in place to support establishment politicians like Hillary Clinton. But then number two, even Bernie Sanders won't address the issue of reparations, which says that unfortunately he's too deeply rooted in this white supremacist power structure to be really truly beneficial to black people, to really help black people get what they need. Basically in this country, when you look at the damage that racism has caused America, you really see a country that is morbidly sick when it comes to racial inequality. They need surgery, and you have politicians that can only come up with Band-Aids. They've got Tylenol when really they need they need a neurosurgeon to come in and really do the work. If you come and clean up a tornado, you can't show up with just a broom and a dustpan. You need some heavy equipment to really fix the damage that's been done. But so in my mind, these politicians aren't deeply committed to fixing the issue. I think that the solution for black people, at least when it comes to economic equality in that particular area, and economic equality everything kind of stems from that, right? A lot of our well-being stems from how we're doing economically. So economic equality is going to come from the development of black businesses, changing the way we think about everything from how we make our money to how we educate our kids to how we view American politics. I think if we do all those things, then 10, 20 years, you're going to see a more empowered black community, and which ultimately, unfortunately, becomes a threat to white supremacy. And what'll be interesting as well is seeing how the system responds to that. Black people, you're in for a fight. These people don't love you. Hillary Clinton don't love you. They're not going to save you. They're not going to take care of you. You got to stand up and fight for yourself. So let's not go back to sleep. Let's stay awoke. Stay awoke, as people say. Stay woke, right? Let's make sure we stay awake. That's what I wanted to say. Don't stay woke. Stay awake. Anyway, I'm Dr. Boyce Watkins from the BlackBusinessSchool.com. By the way, we are on tour. We are on the Black Economic Empowerment Tour right now. You can find out more at thedrboycetour.com. That's the drboycetour.com. We're going to Louisville on March 12th, Chicago on March 26th, Baltimore on April 28th, and we're going to seal deals to go to other cities as well. Also, if you want to join the Black Wealth Bootcamp, you can join that at theBlackWealthBootcamp.com. So we have a lot of stuff going on, a lot of programs, a lot of teaching, a lot of building, a lot of work to do, and I'm going to do it until the day I get old and gray and dead. So talk to you guys soon. I love you. Bye-bye.